am Jim, W6LG, your Elmer here on YouTube. Welcome to my radio room in Rockland, California. And welcome to Callum's radio room in
England, the middle of England.
Yeah. The middle of England. Yeah.
I'm as far away as you can get from the sea. Yeah.
By the way, I Googled your name.
Okay. I haven't Googled you, Jim.
Google and, criminal record, I did find a bunch of people by the same name.
Mm.
Now, I'd have thought that was a fairly rare name. But they're like doctors, God forbid, lawyers.
Yeah. There's
And
a security consultant. I actually know him. He's a member of the Callum McCormick Club.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
There is no.
It's joking. I found years ago, before the internet, I bought the book of McCormick's.
Did
you
really?
I went through the whole lot looking for all the Callums, and I got in contact with them. Said, "Would you like to join the Callum McCormick Club?" So, cut a long story short, there was 6 of us. I mean, I've lost count, but I mean, I have remained chummy, if that's the right expression, with one of them who lives in the Midlands, roughly within 10 miles here. Okay, Jim, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, welcome. I am Callum. Jim was right, after all, and there are plenty of Callum McCormicks on the internet and in real life. But, Jim, let's talk about these right-angle connectors a minute. Why do you think? Is it the dielectric or the connectivity? You got much of a difference between these two?
I think you hit it right on. The old ones, these guys, are silver plated. They're tarnished, but the dielectric material is different. It's a clear material. Mostly, it's hollow on the inside.
Yeah.
I think the difference is because it wouldn't necessarily be in the outside metal.
Indeed. Yeah.
These have some kind of phony dielectric material in them that I know you can heat up. What I was going to do was I wanted to put some bird watt meters in, and they didn't quite fit. And I thought, well, I'll use the right angle connectors.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I better check the old ones out. Plus, the fit and finish is really lousy.
Is that really cheap, nasty alloy stuff, is it?
Yeah.
Where the barrel, you spin the thread and it kind of tingy instead of
it's a rough,
swoosh.
It's like there's sand in the threads when you go to put them on. That's the new
awful.
Ones. Yeah. The old ones, they thread right on. So the point is, what I'll do in the YouTube video is buy good connectors. There's no margin in buying a lousy connector. There's some really good connectors. DX Engineering has some, so does some of the others.
Yeah.
And if you get a good connector, as I said, the most important part of your station is the antenna system. So it's coax connectors, switches.
Yeah.
The crucial component, the antenna.
That's it. Now buy yourself a nice radio.
Yeah.
And the laugh is, Jim, in my opinion, I know you were licensed in 1463 or something. 1964.
No, 1964. When I was 14. Yeah.
Yeah. But even replaying the last 20 years, like a Kenwood TS2000, the old IC 7000, so some 20-year-old radios, that if you put the right coax and the right antenna at the other end, there's not a lot of difference in reality. I mean, it might be a bit wide. It might be a bit wide on 40 meters. Yeah, but, like on a big contest or something, we got the Russians and the Germans all blasting it from behind, we're trying to talk to the US. Maybe they're filtering, but, I mean, it's got surely the graph. Oh, well, I'll go that way. The graph about 20 years ago was already up to here. We're now measuring the difference between next to nothing and nothing, aren't we?
It's even smaller than that.
Yeah.
It's we all want the best. So, I've got an ICOM 7610 and a Yaesu FTDX 101D, and you have a Kenwood?
Yeah, the 990.
990. Beautiful transceiver. But there is a glut at radio clubs of old equipment from Silent Keys that have given their equipment over to the club. So for a new guy or a guy on a limited budget, because not everybody
Yeah.
can afford $1,000 for an
Oh,
ICOM 7300,
have I?
but you may be able to buy a
Yeah.
Kenwood TS940, test it out at your local radio club for $300 or $400, and guess what?
Yeah.
It'll be great. So
Uh,
yeah, we don't have to have the. And if you want to have a screen going with the waterfall and all that stuff, buy a little SDR receiver,
you
plug into
you
the
can do
IF.
that and
Yeah,
jump it in, can't you?
yeah,
That's
you
right.
you can. And I think we get hung up on things like I want to buy this $500 microphone,
Yeah.
and I, honest to God, put your money not because you're sitting there, but put your money in the antenna because that's where the rubber meets the road. If you
I
can't
know.
hear them, you can't work them.
Yeah.
That's
And I tell you, the other thing, I mean, if I was giving any advice to somebody new, by the way, if you got your aircon on or something rattling around the back, I mean, I'm very sensitive.
my wife
to
is hosing off the car because she's leaving.
That's
Yeah.
fine. I can only just hear it and no more. I mean, I bought 330 feet. It's a roll, okay, of something called EcoFlex 15, which is just over ½ inch, not quite 3/4 of an inch thick, heavy coax for my two main transmit and receive lines to my antenna field because it's about 150 feet from the
Well,
shop. You
yeah.
see,
Yeah.
I could have put anything down there, and it cost a lot of money, to buy. It was the equivalent in your money of about $800, And I thought, oh God, do I need to spend this? But it's going to be down there a long time. It's underground, actually, in a big 4-inch.
So it's
pipe.
direct burial coax. You can put it right in the dirt.
We put it in a 4-inch pipe.
Yeah.
I mean, it is buried and it's probably full of water, but and it's just very high quality. Fit it once. I've got some LDF 450 as well, but that's actually really difficult to bend. But anyway, I put that in, and of course I've never had a problem, and I never think about it. And that's the only time I've put a runner coax in that in 2 or 3 years. Never had a problem. Haven't had to think about it. Haven't had to worry about it or anything else. Now I could have bought a small radio for that, right? And a lot of people are tempted to run, RG58 or some bloody stupid thing for a couple of 100 feet. One, you've got tremendous losses, but two, Jim, and you'll know this. I don't know. There's a word for it. If a coax can leak, it can hear, because there's not enough shielding on it. It leaks both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is there a word for that, Jim? If you know the word, put it in the comments. But I wanted a really high.
I have a medical
screen.
term I have a medical term for that, but I can't use it here.
Brilliant. Why do you think these connectors? It's all price, isn't it? It's all price.
I think so. Yeah. Now I use hardline, and it's 7/8 inch hardline.
Right.
I'm only going 50 feet.
Good Lord.
I had it, and it's a solid shield because so there's no
leak.
There's a reason for that. Yeah, and I don't regret it. It's great coax. Also, I get a better reading on the SWR at the antenna. Yeah, and that is a trick that some manufacturers play. Is RG8X to the antenna, and by the time you get back to the station, the SWR looks pretty decent.
It's a good trick, isn't it?
Yeah, it is because there's like RG8X at 30 megahertz has about 3 dB loss. It's 2.5 or so.
Okay, on like 100 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're putting 100 watts into it,
Yeah.
let's say you're doing a POTA activation.
Yeah.
So you've got 100 watts into it, but most of those guys are on 20 meters, and so it doesn't matter as much there.
Okay, 1.5 maybe.
But if you happen to be on, they're on 20.
Meters.
If you happen to be on 10, I don't want to put 100 watts into a cable and only have 50 watts coming out the other.
No, because your receive's just gone down 3 dB as well.
Oh yeah, it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
That's a big word.
Good
but-
word.
yeah.
Reciprocal. It's a word that Jim uses very often, but I don't.
Yeah. Anyway, it's I've been at this almost 60 years. I keep saying that because I want to impress you. You know?
I know.
Yeah.
You're an old
And-
timer, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I spent part of yesterday replacing RG8X that I had used as jumpers
Yeah,
in my station,
yeah.
and they've been nothing but trouble. The reason for that is they were pre-made with the molded connectors.
Okay.
Now, there's different grades of those things, and
Yeah.
some companies sell some really good ones, and they're just garbage. And the loss of them. And you talked about how hard it is to screw down
Screw it
the,
in,
the
yeah.
barrel of the connector. That was causing a problem because on some of them the barrel's too long for the SO239.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and but it brought its own set of dilemmas with Coax.
Yeah.
In that it's really a 3-conductor cable. It's the center conductor, the inside of the shield, and the outside of the shield.
Outside of the shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have
So I've never thought about it like that. So when you've got a high SWR on your coax and a shack ATU, now I don't do this, but some people do, don't they? So you've got this massive SWR. Maybe you've got like I actually remember there was a guy, he was running 400 watts on an 80 meter dipole. He said, but it works fine, so I've got a tuner here. Right? Okay.
that solves everything.
Yeah, indeed. But he was comparing him, the 400 watt station now, comparing him to the 10 watt guys in the same part of the world. They were louder than him, right? And so apart from the coax loss, and he's trying to take the mismatch out with the tuner. I understand that.
Yeah.
But so the SWR would have been very high because it's literally the wrong harmonic. It was double the frequency. So he's got his signal going up the inside. What's happening on the outside of that coax then?
A lot of
all the spare stuff.
Yeah, there's common mode currents coming back on the outside of the shield and messing. That's a good question because some guys will say, well, I have RF in my radio room or I got burned by.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's where some of it comes from.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
what happens when you have a high SWR? There are huge losses because the RF travels down the coax of the antenna, and the antenna says, "Go away! I don't want you," and it goes back, and it'll. Okay, so you got this big long resistor that's 100 feet long. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Trying to get out.
Yeah, that's right. Let me out of here until it's finally dissipated.
Yeah.
Yeah, dissipated.
Did you use the word dissipated then? Yeah, we both did.
I dissipated some coax.
Okay.
It's like everything else. It's current voltage and its frequency and what are you doing? Again, we're back to you want a good match at the antenna. You're not going to fix it with an antenna tuner. That's just foolishness.
Yeah.
I have a homebrew. You can't see it right now. A homebrew antenna tuner that I built. That's redundant. I built a tuner, and I put in the biggest components I could find on the shelf because I'm a collector of parts.
Yeah, of big stuff.
But it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't.
No.
If you want to just sort of nudge the SWR down a tad, that's about all it can do. But if you've got like a 4-to-1 SWR and you use the tuner, well, now you've got huge feedline losses. And that makes no sense. I don't want to put 100 watts in and get not much out at the end.
Yeah. So if we were going to leave people with a couple of tips, I'm thinking of mine. What would the tip be? I would say when I bought my radio, it was very expensive, and I thought to myself, if I have one QSO minimum every day on a per QSO basis, it will drive the cost of the radio down, right? So if it's a $5,000 radio and I have 5,000 QSOs, it's $1 a contact. But if I have 10,000 QSOs, it's 50 cents, right? And
Yes.
but if you, I mean, you challenge yourself to have, not you, Jim, because you're on the radio all the time, and I'm on quite often. But if you find yourself spending too much time on YouTube or reading about ham radio or thinking about ham radio, then I think one of the tricks of the trade is get on, do it. And also find a dead band and call CQ, because you never might know what will happen. That's my tip of the day, Jim.
Tip. There should be a banner across the screen. Callum's
Tip of the day.
Tip of the day! Exclamation mark.
Yeah. With the magic of internet, we'll try and do that for you, ladies and gentlemen.
One of the cautions I want to say is unfortunately, there are times recently when I've been in bed 24 hours a week at a time. And so I make it a point not to watch some ham radio YouTube videos. But I got sucked into a couple of them. Be very careful who you're listening to.
Hard luck.
God bless America.
There's some very well-meaning people who unfortunately don't know a bloody thing.
Don't have a clue as to what they're talking about.
I know.
So be careful. My tip of the day is spend your money on. I know you're Mr. DX. Lord.
Lord. Lord Callum. Yes, I am.
If I said that around here, they wouldn't know what I was talking about. But you, not because you're Lord Callum and DX Commander, but spend your money on the antenna. That's how you're going to communicate with others, and the Feedline. The antenna system. Do your best.
Yeah. Everything else will follow.
Don't buy a $500 microphone.
Yeah.
And you can also, if you're on a limited budget, a lot of people aren't. A lot more people are going to be, I think.
Yeah.
Then your local radio club may have a transceiver, or find a local guy. Don't buy it on eBay, because you're going to get burned.
Yeah. Talk to the old boys.
Get it where you can take it home, try it out, and call the guy on the phone and say, it works great, or no, it doesn't work. I don't understand. But you don't need to spend, even though $7,300 to $1,000 US is a bargain, you can spend a lot less money and get a transceiver that's really just as good.
I know.
Or damn close to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I say damn?
We mentioned earlier on the curve. If you buy a 20-year-old radio, there's a load of people with those. We're trying to wrap up here, by the way, because I know Wendy wants to go shopping. But we've got 5 minutes. There's a lot of old radios that still work. But I mean, I hear a lot of guys on it. It's a TS 850 and 820s, and I mean, these are 30-year-old radios. And sometimes you might, if you're not capable, you might need a friend of yours to like go through some of the capacitors or whatever. But in the main, if you know, after a little service, you spend $100 on a service and new components, the thing will just carry on another 20 years.
In some cases, you can get them for almost nothing.
I know. The amount of people particularly people your age, Jim, who have had the benefit of a long career and maybe.
I'm sorry, people my age, what?
Yeah, under 21. But yeah, and people. I mean, I actually don't buy a lot of gear. I really don't. I've got 3 HF radios, and they're all for a particular reason. But I know plenty of people with 10 radios, and they just don't know what to do with them.
No,
they just don't know what to do with them. They just need. If they knew that you were short on cash, they'd probably give you the bloody thing, all right? But you need to make a bit of an effort as well. I'm looking at you, the viewer, not Jim. You need to make the effort. You know, turn up at the club. You know, be willing. You know, do stuff to help other people, and people will help you. My dad used to say, Jim, and I'm sure your dad had a lot of expressions, the more you put in, the more you get out, right? And it's the same in this world as well.
To that end, since I'm now confined to a wheelchair, my wife has to push me when we go places. I can walk inside the house if I'm careful. If somebody were to come by and help me fix stuff, and I had an extra radio,
Yeah.
and they put a little effort into helping me out, I
That's
give them
fine.
the radio. Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? I mean, it's not going to do.
Absolutely.
I'll
You
tell you
need-
one
you-
quick
Yeah,
quick
go.
story.
Shoot.
A friend of mine, he would carry in a radio, and his wife would say, "Did you buy another transceiver?" And he'd say, "Oh, it's just $35." It was just every time it was just $35. Well, he died, and his wife sold him for $35.
Is this real? You're pulling my leg.
All new stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell the XYL how much I really paid for them. Yeah.
No. You've got to have that little kitty money bag that she doesn't know about.
Yeah. I tell her the truth, and she thinks I'm worth it. So, Jim, it's been lovely talking to you. Thanks for having me on your channel. May the force be with you, old boy.
And it's been great talking to you, and I wish you the best of success now that you're selling your antennas in the U.S. You've got a U.S. dealer, and I think that's wonderful. And so,
DS Engineering.
Yeah, I think it's
Tremendous.
a wonderful thing. You've done great. Callum, the DX command, Lord
Callum.
Callum. I got to get that straight.
Yeah. You actually, if I'm a genuine, no, it's only if I'm a Duke. If I'm a Duke, then you would say Your Grace, and if you're referring to me, you could say His Grace. Yeah.
I always thought
Weird.
Grace was oh, okay.
Oh no, yeah. Tell me about it.
My last name is Heath, so I should know better.
You should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Callum, take care. Nice
Anything
talking
else,
to you.
folks?
Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Well done.
All right. See you. Bye-bye, Callum.
Bye for now.